YouTube, Brad Phillips. Welcome to darkness. The darkness that befalls us all. It's disgusting, and yet we all as a community have decided to set our clocks the wrong direction, and this is called daylight savings time for some reason. Actually, I think technically we're eliminating daylight savings time and going back to what it would be if it wasn't on. So anyway, we're gonna talk about a pill that you can take to make you happy, and it's called RealFlight Evolution. So this is another rendition of RealFlight that is available, and we're just gonna show you what comes in the box. You can get this a couple of different ways, so just follow the link, pick the one that best suits your needs. We're gonna show you what it does on our computer. Keep in mind, we have a new computer, we have an old computer, and then we have another new computer. So that's the way it goes. We'll show you on the middle one, which is still a pretty capable computer, but we don't have like super gaming machine going on. So without further ado, we're cutting it open. Yes, this was in a brown box, but there was other things in the box that didn't have anything to do with this. So we're just gonna open this right now. So we got the one with the Interlinks controller, I believe. Now, if you have one and you order this and you happen to get one and it comes with a USB hub, don't worry, that's something that Horizon came up with to resolve a small conflict that was happening on a very small percentage of computer users. And what was happening is they would plug in the controller and it wouldn't recognize. And I heard about it a few times and I was like, I don't know, I didn't ever have that problem, so I didn't understand it was a thing. Well, evidently it was a thing, and so Horizon came up with a solution for it, and it had to do with putting a hub, a USB hub, between your transmitter and the actual USB port. So it comes with some instructions. Okay, so that's always nice. So let's see what's in here. Of course, we've got, this must be the USB hub. So if you get this, then that means you are one of the earlier releases, so it's possible that you may need this. But if you're one of the later ones and this doesn't come in it, then that means that yours has been fixed. They found, identified, and corrected the problem. So just in case you're wondering. So not a huge deal, should work. If you need it, you've got this thing included. Okay, so it's just a super duper simple USB hub. That's all it is. There's nothing magical about it. You don't have to do a bunch of installation stuff. It just does what it does.
And
okay.
Even if you get that thing, you might not need it, right?
You might not need it. Yeah, that's right. And what they were telling us is it was like a small percentage of people that were having problems. So I guess they just got a bunch of these and just included them in the first batch.
Yep.
That had not yet been updated because it had already come. So anyway, long story short. All right, cool. So this is the Interlink DX transmitter. Of course, you've got the throttle, you've got rudder, you've got roll, elevator. So it's very similar to a DXS. And of course, this is nice because it will help you to build muscle memory. The only thing I don't like about this is that the knob would be up on top. But granted, I don't use the knob a lot live while flying. I use it just for adjustments of some of the main things. Now also, you'll notice that there are no sliders on this one. There had been sliders on previous instances of this application, but at the same time, I don't have sliders on my NX8, so that's probably a better analog for what we're trying to do here. There's also a reset button, a cancel button, and then there is a scroll bar, which is nice, but you don't necessarily use it as much in game as you would in real life, okay? So that's what comes in the box. Now that's if you order it with the hardware. Now you can get this, so it's just a digital download, I believe. So if you've already purchased this, there's also another option, which I'm gonna show you that right now, but you can stay right here, camera crew.
Okay.
The other option is a dongle, and the dongle is actually very nice because you can use your actual transmitter to go in. All right, so we found it. It's this thing. This is the dongle adapter. And just keep in mind, when you plug, come back up here. When you plug this in, you're gonna press this button and then slide it in, and it flashes, and that's the bind setting. So you can use your actual transmitter that is an even better analog than using something like this. However, I'm gonna say in practical reality, I prefer to use this because I'm too lazy to go get this. So if you're ordering this, I just want you guys to know my predisposition, if I was really telling you what I prefer, would be this is cheap, but then this can come with the game, which is really nice. Now there was also back when the Habu 70 first released, it came with either this or that, and I can't remember which one. I think it came with this, and then like a trial version. So my memory doesn't serve me well right now, but here's the thing. Being able to use your real transmitter when you're really learning to fly a real airplane on a simulator is huge and invaluable, huge. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get this thing set up on Steam, which is an online program, but you don't have to actually play online. You can play offline once you've got things installed. And so don't be worried about that if your internet's terrible. We're on satellite internet here where we are. We do not have landlines. They aren't even capable of getting them here without $63,000. So we're not gonna be doing that unless somebody wants to make a donation. So anyway, if you guys get this, the way you're gonna use it is super simple. It just comes with little protective film on there, really simple stuff. It is not like anything, I mean, if you've ever had a USB hub, it's the simplest thing. You plug this in, drivers automatically install, and then you plug this into that. Now that's assuming you need it. We're gonna do it without and assume we don't need it, and then see what happens. So without further ado, we are gonna get RealFlight Evolution installed on Steam. We're not gonna show that process because it's gonna be unique to your computer. We're gonna let you know about problems that we may run into, and then we'll virgin plug this in for the first time in front of the camera so you guys can see what we run into and if we need this thing or not. So we'll show you how that goes. Another thing that works really good is if you have small children that can't quite fit the NX8 or NX6, what you could do is you can use one of these Batman controllers that would have come with something like the Sport Cub S or one of the Ultra Micros that you had in the past. It just has to be DSM-X or DSM-2 compatible, I believe, to bind up to this little thing. So that's another option. Just again, follow the links in the video description below. We'll link to this separately from the actual application so that you can buy whatever one you want. But just remember, it is a valuable tool to have a simulator. My personal experience is recommending simulators alongside RealFlight, as in flying for real, not RealFlight as in RealFlight Evolution. My experience is I want to fly real airplanes and have real pain and suffering involved with crashes, and then I want real learning as in really having to set them up, or really having the danger of cutting your hand on props, and really having the financial risk of crashing and damaging the planes, because I feel like as an adult, especially an adult provider within a family, it helps. The pain and suffering does help you to learn quicker in my experience. So simulators are one thing, but then learning in real life needs to happen at the same time for a lot of people. If you're trying to learn just strictly muscle memory on throttle, rudder, ailerons, elevator, simulator's fine for that. You can do that, and it's gonna be very helpful and a lot cheaper than crashing a lot of planes. But I feel like the endorphins that help to reinforce behavior are gonna be better if you do real flying along with RealFlight. Okay, so getting back to the point. So we weren't gonna show the install, but we opened up our Steam and it already shows up as this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go in here. Basically, when you open Steam, if you already had RealFlight 9.5S, I believe RealFlight Evolution should show up. So I'm just gonna pause it and we'll make sure that we have the right one and we'll come right back. Okay, so one thing we noticed is when we open up this choice from the library, there is an install option here, or if you've got it installed on another machine, then it's gonna allow you to play it through Steam. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna play it on this computer, which means I need to install it on this machine. So I'm gonna do that in the background and we'll come right back. Okay, so we started our download and it's a couple hundred megabytes. And so for us, it's not a really fast thing, but it will take a little bit of time to download. Now keep in mind, I think they suggested it was gonna take like 21 minutes to download. But we have Starlink and we routinely get between 50 and 150 megabits per second of download speed and maybe 20 to 30 upload. So our speeds are pretty slow. If you're in town, it will take seconds. And that's the way it should be for most of you. But at this point, just so you can see the status bar showing you that it's working. It's a very easy install process. It's not something that's hard. And so obviously we're not doing a computer tech channel here, but we just want to show you the generic process so that you can understand what's going on. Now, if you haven't installed Steam for the first time, you have to go and get Steam. And so I actually don't believe you get a disc with this. in any of the installation instances anymore, but you may be able to order it with a disc, and if so, then you'll need to make sure you get the right one. So just make sure you follow the link and get what's right for your computer situation. I do not know your computer situation. This is a generic video for people that want to know about RealFlight and whether or not it works well, and not necessarily how it's going to work on your machine. I can't answer that in this video. There's too many variations. So we'll come back when this thing's done, and you can see it's about a quarter way uploaded just in that short little clip. So we'll come right back. Okay, so now that we have the install update, or the install done, we have to do the update. Okay, so I'm gonna hit update, so it shows a queue here. So I'm gonna hit update, so it's gonna download that, which is super small. It's only like 17 megabytes, so it should take a few seconds. Okay, now we can play. And so when we hit play, it's probably gonna ask us to plug in our Interleak DX simulator control. Okay, so see this? It's gonna ask you if you wanna load it in the RealFlight Evolution and Steam virtual reality mode or in Oculus mode. And I'm just gonna play normal, okay? Okay, so now it's gonna allow us to change the device settings. Okay, and we're gonna do that real quick. And so now it's installing the Microsoft DirectX and some different things. Okay, so now we're gonna, okay, so now it's just thinking for a second, and now it's giving us the warning about installing the joystick, okay? Because the joystick is, of course, in this case, this device. So what we'll do is we'll just plug it in for the first time and see what happens. Now keep in mind, this is our computer. It may be a little different on your computer, but our USB port happens to be here. It gives us a little doop, 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 doop. And what's gonna happen is Microsoft is gonna install some drivers, and we have the Spectrum logo turning on so we can see what's going on. Now, once that's happening, I'm gonna click retry. And then it's gonna start, and it's loading Eli Field, which is good. And then as you can see, we have two monitors, so that just happens to show up over here. Please calibrate your controller. Okay, uncalibrated controllers may not function correctly. Okay, so I'm gonna hit next. Center all controls, including the throttle stick. Okay, so you just bring this line to the center here, guys. See how that line centers? And then this one's centered, and it's centered this way. And there are, oh, I'm sorry, there are sliders back here. I apologize, there are sliders. I missed them because the sliders were in a different spot if I remembered right. Okay, so you can see a little demonstration of where the stick is here on the screen. So you just want to center those. Okay, and you can see things moving around. So basically I go to all the axis of control. I move all the sticks. I move all the knobs, get them centered. And you can see them all working, which is really nice. And then of course, as you can see now that you have given these analog inputs the correct positional environment, they need to know what up and down looks like so that they can be calibrated. This is how you do that. So it's super simple. Once you've done that, you can just hit finish. Okay, now I'm gonna hit fly and we'll see. Oh, it looks like we got a Habu. Okay, cool, so we got Habu. Okay, so I don't know, we're in safe right now. So when you let go of the sticks, it automatically levels, as you guys are fully aware. Wider turning radius. Okay, I'm gonna see what it takes to get out of safe. Okay, there we go, so I'm in AS3X. Now, of course, we can go ahead and fly it like we stole it. And then what I'll do is I'll go around and then take a landing here, but we'll just do a real simplistic maneuver just to show you how it works. A little bit of slip with a lot of rudder, a little bit of slip, a little bit of slip, and just slowing it down. Nice. Okay, very, very good. Okay, cool. So as you can see, we are interacting with our device. It's working fine. So in our case, we didn't need to use this adapter. It worked fine without, but let's just go ahead and show you what would happen if you used it. Okay, so it makes the chime noise from Windows, and we're running Windows 10 on this machine. So we'll plug this in and listen to the noises. Nothing special. It just chimes like what you would hear when you install any USB device. And then we're just gonna plug this in, and then it works exactly as it was before. As you can see, I'm already flying and everything is working great. And I crashed. Awesome. Hit reset. super good. So this is a great way to get in and practice and help kill the daylight savings times blues. So this is where you can practice your low passes in the front. And then you can do cornholes like this. That's a cornhole, okay? And then of course this thing is a pretty good simulation. It's gonna give you a good representation of how planes fly, but just keep in mind the Habu is like one of the most forgiving planes ever. And yes, it does carry forever like what you saw just there. And this is like a 1.5 mile long runway. So what we're gonna do is we'll just go ahead and pause. I'm gonna bring up the library of different vehicles to choose and we'll show you what that looks like. Okay, so I press the select, I click once, and then this moves up and down, and you can change the airfield, which is pretty cool. And you can do all sorts of things. Of course, there's a million different choices. You could fly the blimp here, obviously, that's pretty cool. And they have all these preset things. Okay, so like the aircraft carrier, of course, so you can see how quick and easy it is to set that. And this is the L39. I think that's the gear switch. I hope the gear just went up. Yes, they did. That is sweet looking. Of course, this is going to be even a large aircraft for me. And very fast. And I'm wondering if I have flaps set up on this one yet. Looks like they probably set it to the D switch because this is a Horizon thing. Note to self, if flying on a field of Harriers, ask the Harriers to move. Yep, there's the flaps, there's the gear. Totally sweet. And what we can do is I'll try landing it just because I want to see if I can land it, because that's one of the beauties of using the simulator, is that you get to do all these fun things, but you'll notice I'm riding the stick hard, which is generally not going to be necessary in a real plane because you're going to adjust all that stuff. There we go, guys, we're down. And just jank it. That's the other thing I've noticed about the physics engine, is you see how hard that thing tipped. In real life, I would have destroyed that plane there. Okay, so one thing too, click. I can pick a different, well, I want to pick a different airstrip here real quick. And then they have these where you can do different, you know, like slope soaring and different projects like this. Of course, they show the wind. So I'm going to get out of the flaps here. And then I think to launch, you see that's just all tied to the throttle. And then I'm going to launch. Getting some speed. And then what I want to do is actually fly into the wind. I want to try to pick up some speed and see if I can get a little bit of lift out of this. So it's really cool because if you guys have never done slope soaring or flying from a mountain, you can do that sort of thing, which is super fun. And I'm flying with the wind, so I'm actually going to lose stuff here. Now, the other thing too is there's tons of amazing features that you can tap into on this program, and I cannot review them all because it's just going to take forever. But what I can do is crash for you right now, which I'm going to do. The physics engine is pretty good. There we go. So I crashed. So what I want to do is I am going to click again, scroll into the airfield, and I'm just going to go up to, looks like Palace, whatever this is. And what I want to do is I want to then, once this loads, I'm going to get a different aircraft for us. And we'll pull up something that's newer. Okay, so I want to, as you can see, there's a tow rope now, which is pretty cool. So you can even fly these sailplanes and gliders right here at the airfield. Okay, pretty cool. So now I can click and go up to the aircraft and look at the plethora of choices, folks. Look at this. Look how long that scroll bar is. That's amazing. Oh, is that an airliner? Oh, yeah, buddy. Yes. Oh, yeah. Let's bring it up. There's flaps here, looks like. Yes. Get it in the air. There goes the gear out of the flaps, guys.
This is really hard for me to film. Because,
is it?
No, because I want to like move my body.
Oh,
in
no.
anticipation of what you're
Death.
going to do.
Oh, yes, we survived. Normally they don't do that in real life, folks. So now I know some of you guys are probably thinking it's kind of lame to watch you fly simulator, but I'm just going to show you a huge slip here. You guys see the slip maneuver? All these maneuvers that I do in real life, I can translate easily into the simulator, but I need to warn you about something. Flying a simulator is still quite a bit easier than it is in real life. Now also, as you can see, we have an interactive environment. It's not just going to be super all fun and games. This is a pretty tight environment. But I want to see how this thing handles the grasshoppers. Oh no! Okay, so getting back to the point, totally cool that we have an airliner. I'm going to click and I would just scroll back to the aircraft so I can show you the millions of different choices. There are a ton of them. And one of the best things about this simulator is that you're going to be able to fly some of the latest and greatest E-Flight products that you want to test. Now, why is that a big deal? Because if you get the Timber Axe UMX, look how small it is. That's awesome. Oh, yes.
That's hilarious.
It is hilarious. So what you can do is then you can get this thing and you can practice flying and see how it's going to really do for you in real life. Now, keep in mind, if you're a Brian Phillips RC fan, then what you can do is you can get this thing and actually, oh, I'm in safe. No wonder I was going to say, why is it so rock solid? That's bizarre. I do feel like this has some tremendous expo behaviors going on. But it actually does fly a lot like the real one, which is super nice. Maybe that's a little bit much on the power. But the physics engine is good, and that's why I like RealFlight. Okay, so it sticks out. See the flat spin? And then snap out of it. Let's land it right at our feet, guys. Okay, so there we are. So at the end of the day, the big thing is you want to be able to fly. You want to be able to fly right now, and you want to do it while it's crappy out. This is the ticket. Definitely need to get something like this when you're getting something like that you can fly out in the front yard or whatever. This is a great supplement if the wind is high, if you've been working until 5 o'clock and you got to drive home and you've got to commute and all that stuff. So it's going to be dark by the time you get home. It's super depressing. This will help with the depression. And also, if you decide you don't want to go with this type of transmitter, I will show you what it looks like to use the other transmitter really quick. And I'm just going to show this right now because it's easy to share. I'm going to unplug my transmitter, and then I'm going to plug this in while holding the bind button, okay? See how I have to hold this into the USB port? While in there, it starts flashing. Now watch this. I think I have to pull this for bind. I might be doing the bind procedure wrong. Now it's bound, okay? So it looks a lot like a transmitter, right? Or receiver. Now, what I want to do is, I'm not sure if that actually is going to work for us or not, because I have to actually set up the interface. So we'll pause and get that done. Okay, so full disclosure, I close it, open it back up, and as you can see, now we have true wireless control, which is really nice. And so if you have children that have smaller hands, or you've got, somebody in your family that wants to use their exact transmitter while they're practicing and playing around, then you can do that now. And you can use things like safe, you can use panic, all the good stuff, and you have exact muscle memory then, which is super nice for beginners. And again, to help with the blues from having crappy weather and daylight savings in combination, this is a great way to do it. Now also, and this is something that you would have to do, you'd have to make an entire new acro, and then you can bind this transmitter to that acro. You can call it whatever you want, call it a simulator. And then basically, as you're using this, you would literally hold this button down while inserting it into the actual computer. Now, if you plug it in and then you press this button, there is no action that occurs. Okay, so that's a sweet tool. It's called the Spectrum W52000. I don't know what they're, or maybe it's like WS. I'm not really sure. It doesn't matter. The point is WS2000. Maybe that's what it is. Either way, we'll have links to that. We'll have links to this. We're going to have links to the RealFlight Evolution. And if you aren't comfortable with doing online gaming, just trust me, that's the wave of the future. If you don't like it, I'm really sorry to tell you, that's what everybody's doing these days. So when it first came out, I thought, oh boy, now I need the internet for everything. Well, the thing is, you could actually shut off your internet and still fly and play, but you have to install it all using internet, so just be aware of that. The other thing is you can hotspot with your phone or whatever, and then make things happen if you have to install, and then if you lose internet connection, you should be able to keep flying. So there are internet-based games too, just to keep in mind. Of course, you're gonna have to have internet to use those things, where you can fly in groups and things like that. I've never really done that, but it is a cool feature that's built in. And then also there'll be quarterly updates. Just keep in mind, if you buy the bundles, you'll get a better value. And there's gonna be new releases of new products that you can purchase, and then you can fly them before you buy them if you want. I wouldn't recommend necessarily doing that because I feel like the closeness in flight performance on the physics is pretty close. But what you forget is that there is a huge disparity in muscle memory tests, you know, matching up, and then environment, the actual environment where you fly. So it always changes things a lot. I also feel like sometimes like the weightiness of an aircraft in the simulator is sometimes not always a great representation. Also, I set up my dual rates in Expo a lot different than the stock stuff. So it does tend to make a little bit of a difference. Now keep in mind, you can do dual rates in Expo here, but that's just going to impact the actual output that goes into the receiver, as it were, here, if you're doing that. And so you can impact the change in that regard, but you do have to make assignments on your switches. And the way you would do that, if you decide to do that, is basically go into your settings and you make setting changes, and it's kind of a task. So I'm not going to show you how to do it, but you can make changes on which switch does what activity. And you just basically do that through the setup. Now, I haven't played with this one much, but you may have noticed that there isn't really an actual menu structure here, but there's a way to bring that up. I'm gonna find it and come right back and show you. So if you hit escape, it brings you to this screen. So from the flight menu, you hit escape, and then you can go in here and do all this other cool stuff. And this is where you can change your user interface and different things like that. And so just really at this point, this is where you're gonna really get in there and start making changes. And like, for instance, we always set up, not a chase camera, that's cheating, but we do set up, usually we do camera lag, minimum field of view. There's one that we do and it's a binocular view, and I can't remember how to start that, but it's really helpful because sometimes on the simulator it's like quite far out there and it's hard to see. So I've always liked to turn that on. But as you can see, it's a little bit different setup than what you're used to on the old settings. But I was trying to find a way, and I believe when you're in this, you can hit Control F, and that should bring up your file edit and that stuff. So I'll see if I can find that and come right back. Okay, so while the user interface is a lot different, I just want to show you this because it's something I immediately wanted. It's under settings. What you'll do is you'll press escape, you'll go to settings, and then you can go to user interface, and there's a gadgets choice, and binoculars is what I was looking for. So you can enable that. Okay, and then when you walk out of the menu structure by pressing escape, then you'll have access to the binoculars, I guess. Maybe it's you gotta get so far away. Because it used to be that binoculars were only available when you were a certain distance away. Or do I have to hit a button to activate it? I don't know.
I thought it just popped up automatically.
That's what I thought too.
Far away.
But one thing I'm learning about this application is that it is lined up different, because when you hit escape, you get all these choices. It's a lot nicer user interface, but it's also not what I'm used to. So I'm having to relearn some of these things. That's why we're sharing right now, because under this used to all be in a normal, you know, like Windows-based menu structure system. So anyway, stay tuned, guys. Okay, so the other big one I wanted to find was controller configuration. So I'm going to show you that real quick. So you'll press escape. You'll go to settings, user interface. Whoops, excuse me. It wasn't there actually. Where was that? It was under controller, duh. And then it was controller configuration. Then you can edit the settings on this. So when you edit this, that's where you can make changes to what each axis controls. Now, I'm not super worried about changing it right now, but it's very important that you understand there's going to be some limitations there. But if you do it right, it's not a big deal, and it will save the profile for this particular controller. And you can also name your profiles for this controller versus that controller. But just keep in mind, anything that binds through this is going to go on that same setup, okay? So if you go between the NX8 and the NX10 and the NX6 or whatever it is, or your iX14, then that's gonna be a different thing. So of course, one more flight real quick before we, okay, so we gotta get some flap action going there. Oh yeah, better get some altitude, altitude, altitude. There's our flaps. Okay, gear going up. This is a sweet plane. I didn't know we were going to have an airliner. I'm not sure why we don't have a real one. I think that'd probably be a smart thing to do, don't you?
I think so.
Lots of yaw authority there. Oh no! Almost lost it. Goodness gracious. Okay, out of the flaps altogether. The gear coming back down. Okay, here we go. Full landing flaps are deployed. We're going to see if we can land this monster. This is a tight airstrip, so it's a little bit like where we fly from. Whoa, 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 whoa. Get those gear down. Get the gear down. Do it. Little burst of throttle. And get it on the ground. So obviously there it is. Throttle cuts on. Super exciting. Don't mind me crashing into the trees. So guys, if you want to help with the daylight savings blues, definitely check out the RealFlight Evolution. Now, we've reviewed a couple of RealFlights over the years, and just keep in mind, RealFlight 9.5, then 9.5S. Now we're on RealFlight Evolution, and I believe there's some free upgrades that came with certain models of your software, so make sure that before you go ahead and buy, just check on Steam, make sure you don't have any free upgrades available, and then you can go ahead and buy. But if you want to get the Interlinks DX simulator controller, then you can follow the links in the video description below. There should be pretty much search results for whatever options are available for this, and we'll make sure to link to whatever the heck this thing is called, and it works really good. So I've actually been really happy with it. So if you want less clutter, this is a nice thing because it's very small and easy to use, but I actually really like this. I think it's the best option for kids because if you go into an NX8, it's just a little bit too wide for small kids' hands in my experience. And so if you have small kids, the Batman controllers are pristine for that. So millions of great choices here. And we hope that between these things, you can help kill your daylight savings blues. So happy winter, guys. We're almost there. It's going to be gross, I know. But the thing is, we'll still be here filming all the best, latest and greatest RC content on Brian Phillips RC. So again, welcome to our closet, our humble abode, where we do lots of internet-y and YouTube-y things. But at this point, we're just working on trying to get as much content as possible for you because we know you guys are insatiable. And also the world's best audience. Check the links in the video description below. Buy this stuff. You'll help support us. That's one of the best things you can do. Also, we have PayPal, Patreon. If you just don't need this, maybe you've already got it or you bought it at your local retailer. Either way, we appreciate you doing that. And the links are right down below. Also, check out www.brianphillipsrc.com for the latest and greatest coupon codes. We try to keep current on those things if they exist, and you'll find them there. And you can also find links to some of our thousands of videos. And yes, you heard me right. That's thousands of videos. It's almost, we don't have a very good organization scheme on YouTube because the playlists are dedicated to each type of plane. So for instance, that J3 Cub right there, you could actually watch videos about that J3 Cub if you so choose to do so. We also have videos about how we put flaps on this Cessna 182 UMX. Yes, that's right. They were gel broken by adding a second receiver, and then we added flaps, which is super fun. But that's from years and years and years ago. We have much more current stuff than that, and we have all the latest and greatest here on Brian Phillips RC, so we hope you guys will stay tuned and come back for more. But obviously, you should be clicking the bell for notifications because we have new stuff coming out 3 to 4 times a week. It's kind of insane. So thanks for watching. So much more to come.